Hello everyone. Thank you to GISTeR and to the CWS. I'm very glad to be here. I am Chul-Hyun. I'm a psychiatrist and digital psychiatry researcher at Korea University. Today, I want to talk about one ethical question, sex and gender in digital mental health. I will follow it through the whole digital mental health pipeline from the sensor and to the algorithm and to policy. First, why does digital mental health raise? Uh, a traditional psychiatric visit is short, about 30 minutes in the clinic, maybe once a month. Actually, in Korea, the actual usual clinic time is about 10 minutes uh, in Korea. The patient tells us how they have been feeling. We rely on their memory, and that memory is often biased toward what happened most recently. So we are working from a tiny, distorted snapshot of a complex life. On the right, the box sums up the shift in one glance. We move from a single in-clinic visit to continuous 24/7 monitoring, from the clinic to the patient's own phone and wearables, from what they remember and report to passive data collected automatically, and from recall bias to ecological momentary assessment captured in the wild, in the moment, in real life. What does this phenotyping study actually collect? From smartphone, GPS location, typing patterns, calls, screen on time, even voice samples. From the smartwatch, heart rate variability, sleep stages, daily steps, and sometimes blood oxygen levels. All of that streams encrypted to a secure cloud, where it is joined with the clinical record and fed it to an AI or a machine learning model. The goal is to flag a likely episode before it happens. But as the bottom row wants, every one of these signals carries a sex and gender fingerprint. So ignoring it builds bias right into the prediction. To answer the question, we need the distinction that is often blurred. Sex is not gender. They are two different things. Sex is biological hardware. I can give a few examples. Vocal cord length sets a different baseline pitch in the voice. HRV changes across the menstrual cycle. Hormones shape sleep architecture. Body composition changes how the accelerometer reads movement. Gender, by contrast, is socio-cultural software who feels able to seek help despite stigma, which apps people prefer. Relational versus transactional. The unpaid care load that creates time poverty and mobility patterns shaped by genders' concerns about safety. The key point is that the very same signal can read as meaningless noise or as meaningful signal, depending entirely on whether the analyzed knows which fingerprint they are looking at. Let me be blunt. Algorithmic neutrality is a myth. AI inherits the field's male-skewed training data. For historical reasons, women have been represented in medical research for decades. That carries over into the digital tools. Female cases are underrepresented in our data sets. So a single overall accuracy headline can hide large gender gaps underneath. A model can look 80% accurate on paper, but and still fail one subgroup badly. The average can be fine while the variance is terrible. So the fix is to stop reporting one headline number and instead measure how accuracy varies by sex. The simplest check a clinician can run is the disparate impact ratio. One group's performance divided by the others. A value between roughly zero point 0.8 and 1.2 is considered acceptable, and anything outside that band is like a red flag that the model is treating the sexes unequally. Part one, who actually use digital mental health? Before we judge the algorithms, we need to understand the people who do and don't reach them. Two findings here. Here is the first finding. In a large German study, a choice-based conjoint design with about 2,000 people, women were significantly often open to digital mental health service than men, more willing to consider them, more positive in their preference. So you might think um, this means women would actually use the apps more, but their completion rates were lower than men's across many different data sets. This is the paradox. Notice the middle step, sign up rates are roughly equal between women and men. So the drop off is not about the motivation or willingness. It happens after people sign up, which points us that what apps actually demands for users. That is the next slide. The answer is mostly time. They found something simple. Women repeatedly report that they cannot find the uninterrupted time these apps demands, not because of that they don't want to, because of they don't have it. Unpaid care work as a every prescribed app module competes with someone else's needs. A child who needs with homework, a parent who needs a phone call, a spouse who needs a dinner. Uh, the 30 minutes is just not there. The clinical implication is a design one. Instead of a single 30 minutes block, we should build for the caregiver's reality micro sessions of about 5 minutes. An asynchronous flow time can step in and out of an uninterruptible state that remembers where they can left off. I sweep across the grid, do not read every card. Four very different contexts, Germany, the US, Bangladesh, and global narrative review. Geography and age vary, but the sex and gender axis matters everywhere. Mechanisms differ. Preference architecture in Germany, social motivation in the US, what some others call digital patriarchy in Bangladesh, can load the global review. Different mechanism, same pattern. One term worth unpacking: the digital patriarchy, existing gender power imbalance being carried into and sometimes amplified by digital access. Bangladesh is the clear example. Women's lower telehealth use and far higher medication discontinuation show the technology widening the gap rather than closing it. Part two, bias in the algorithm. We just saw biases enter through who reaches the tools. Uh, Now watch it enter through the model themselves. I want to show one piece of audit work. The method matters as much as result, because once you see uh, these methods, you can apply it to almost any model. Rickman took over 600 real long-term care record. Each one had identifiable pronouns, he or she. Each one had real clinical content, diagnosis, medication, mobility notes, risk assessment. From there, the method was elegantly simple. He swapped only the pronouns and gendered terms, leaving every clinical fact untouched. Then fed both versions of each record to the same model under identical prompt and compared to two summaries. Because of the medical contents is unchanged, any difference between the two outputs is gender bias coming straight from the model. And the same recipe that can be used to audit almost any AI system. Same clinical case, only pronouns are different. Everything else is identical. One important note before I read that this summaries I am about to read are paraphrase. They show the patterns Rigman documented. They are not the direct AI output word for word. For the male code record, Google's Gemma model says patient showed cognitive decline and high fracture risk. Mobility is limited. Recommended stepping up the care plan. Now the female coded version of that exact same record, Gemma instead said the patient appears emotionally sensitive and anxious about her mobility, report some discomfort, continue monitoring. The objective fracture and cognitive decline quietly frames as emotional fragility. The crucial point is that Llama 3 did not reproduce the gap. So the bias is engineered by the Gemma's fine-tuning and alignment choice. It is not an inevitable property of AI that means model choice is itself a clinical decision. Bias is not always about hiding risk. Sometimes it is also two-sided detection failure. Both sides are wrong, but the opposite reasons. Um, the authors built machine learning models. The goal to detect signs of anorexia from posts in Twitter, X, now called X. They tested 6 different machine learning models across all six. Uh, the failure runs in two opposite directions. For women, the model logs markedly higher false negatives. It dismisses genuine warning signs as ordinary interest in beauty or dieting. So real case slip through. For men, stigma means they under-disclose, which leaves too few cases to train on, so detection fails through sheer data scarcity, some blind spot, opposite cause. Now, the most important number in the talk, and also the most hopeful number, Park and colleague use. They used the random forest model on smartphone sensor data, a small sample, 50-50. 55. So treat this as a proof of principle, not as a population estimate. The numbers stock on the random forest model accuracy was about 87% for men, but only 71 for women, um, with a disparate impact ratio of 0.68. Where outside the fair band, the mechanism is that phone behavior features are gendered, and the male-skewed model reads female patterns as noise. But here is the hopeful part, adding a single disparate impact remover, pre-processing step shrink the gap from nearly 16 points down to under 2, with almost no loss of overall accuracy. Fairness, in other words, is engineerable. Sweep across the grid. Four different AI model, large language model, social media classifiers, mobile sensors, and NLP on user-generated text. Different layers, different mechanism, but the pattern is the same. Bias is not isolated to one tool. It pervades the pipeline, which means that the fix has to be pipeline wide too. Part three, when digital tools help close gaps. This is the constructive time. When tools are designed with sex and gender in mind, they don't just avoid harm. They actively close gaps. Internet-based CBT gives us a sex-specific signal worth modeling. And this is where the news gets better. The authors reported in an RCT of Internet IPT and CBT for depression. IPT means interpersonal therapy, and CBT means cognitive behavior therapy for depression. Female sex emerged as one of the strongest predictors of two things at once. First, greater symptom reduction. Second, higher treatment compliance. So women respond well, and women stay. That's a clear signal. The second study scales that up enormously. Um, uh, uh, Fuku, Fukukawa co component meta-analysis pulled 76 trials and over 18,000 patients to ask which ingredients actually matter. Behavior activation as a real benefit. Relaxation can actually make things worse. And critically, combining human support with the automated program cuts dropout dramatically, with an odds ratio of 0.32. So the take home is that the single one size fits all ICBT tends to lose man, whereas a hybrid human supported pathway brings them back. If asked about adolescence, CBTI, in the Sleep Ninja smartphone CBTI pilot, girls actually started with worse sleep than boys, more time awake after falling asleep, and lower sleep efficiency. Yet after 6 weeks, the gender by time interaction was not significant. Both groups improved comparably on the insomnia and sleep quality scales. The lesson is that when the tool is designed well, equality is a built-in outcome, not something we simply assume. This slide is a warning about the average numbers, about what uh, aggregate metrics can hide. Uh, RCT of digital CBT for insomnia, the trial that's 1,358, a large, well-powered trial. Here is a trap. Demographic factors, sex, age, race, income, education did not significantly moderate how well the program worked. So the headline dropout rates for men and women look essentially the same, but the interviews tell a different story. Men tends to quit because they find it ineffective and too slow, while women quit because of time scarcity and the lack of human connection. The identical number hides two different problems that demands two different design fixes. For anchor studies, as I introduced, uh, the um, they the park Korean perinatal RCT, the right downside of pregnant women, 4-week mindful app found that anxiety improved significantly, but depression and stress did not change. Honest framing matters. Positive finding still is honest framing. Part 4, the sense is not neutral. The central claim of this section is simple. The same number means different things in different bodies and different lives. Three examples on the slide. One, GPS. Shrinking movement radius, the default interpretation says a social withdrawal, a classic depression marker, but it may just be a caregiving loop. Home, school, market, home. Not depression at all, just a different pattern of life. Two more examples make the same point. A high voice pitch with jitter looks like instability and gets read as anxiety. But vocal baseline is differ by sex, so that instability may simply be a normal physiological baseline. And luteal phase drop in heart rate variability looks like automatic dysregulation. Yet it is ordinary menstrual cycle variation, which is exactly the case I will unpack on the next slide. Let me make a fully concrete with one example. Heart rate variability naturally drops in the luteal phase of the menstrual cycle. This is normal physiology. It is a parasympathetic system shifting in a predictable way every month for roughly a half of population. So watch what the algorithm does with that. It says HRV drop sharply, labels it automatic instability, and fires an anxiety checking. When nothing clinical has happened at all, it is just a normal luteal phase parasympathetic shift. The fix is straightforward. Stratify HRV baseline not only by sex but also by cycle phase metadata. So the model knows where in the cycle the person is before it ever raises an alarm. If asked for the engineering recipe, I can provide the 3 steps. One, separate a baseline by sex, normalize sense data within sex before training. Two, control for divide heterogeneity. And three, capture social context metadata, occupation, household, caregiving, giving a status. These three steps apply to any national digital phenotyping program, not just mental health. I'm performing several digital phenotyping cohort study, but honestly, this is not that everyone uh, of this built for general clinical prediction, not for sex and gender stratified analysis. So here is the limitation stated plainly, uh, and it is deliberately also the opportunity I want to share with this audience. Combined this full cohort, more than 3,000 participant worth of rich passive sensor data that the data has not yet been reanalyzed through the sex and gender lens. So I want to reanalyze these samples with sex and gender lens. Part 5. The WHO guidance on AI in health gives us guardrails. Three core demands worth remembering. One, inclusive design from the start. Two, mandatory post-deployment audit. You don't stop checking after lunch. Three, disparate impact ratio targets. Two groups turn these principles into practice. Timmons and colleagues package them into three-stage bias mitigation pipeline: pre-processing, in-processing, post-processing, which is detailed in the uh, my backup slide. If you want, I can share. And we consolidate everything into the 7-step checklist on the right. And discipline this regulation. That's the ask is one sentence. Make sex stratified subgroup analysis a requirement, not an option. In US, FDA should require a sex stratified subgroup analysis in digital therapeutic trials, which minimum per sex sample sizes and effect size comparison across sexes. Korea is the second jurisdiction. The MFDS has begun reviewing digital therapeutics, but does not yet require sex subgroup analysis. And since I sit on its expert consultative body, this is very much a live or working agenda. Third, the EU under AI Act, mental health AI is currently classified only as a medium risk, but the WHO recommend upgrading it to high risk, which would trigger both pre-market conformity check and post-marketing monitoring. The 5 dimensions I have walked uses, algorithm, intervention, response, phenotyping, and governance are not independent of each other. They are stacked up. A woman faces an access barrier. Time poverty keeps her from finishing the app. And if she does get in, she faces algorithmic under detection on top. The model sees her data as a misclassified, a double disadvantage. The radius multiply. So what is the path out? Torus ones that these tools, if they are not equate designed, can widen the very gaps they were meant to close. And the democratization is means, not the end. The real test is health justice, And the answer to compounding multi-layer problem has to be multi-layer solutions, sex and gender aware design applied across all 5 layers at once, not patched into a single one. To close, my central message today is this: sex and gender are not obstacles to be controlled away, treated correctly. They are precision medicine levers. These psychiatrists succeed only when these things come together: biological sex, social, cultural, gender, and data-driven method. From the very first step of design all the way through to deployment and monitoring. And this here is the hopeful version of everything we have seen. The same sensor, same model, same intervention that failed to serve women today can serve everyone tomorrow, but only when fairness is engineered. So that's it for of my presentation. Thank you for your attention.